McGraw, number 45.
Being a relief pitcher is different in that in my job, the only time you're called upon is when there's a problem, when there's trouble, and you've got to come in and try to put a stop to it. So being a relief pitcher, there's always pressure. You're not going to a ball game unless somebody is in trouble. That's one of the exciting things about being a relief pitcher. And you come in and you do the job like that, it's very gratifying.
Baseball's troubleshooters, rescue artists, or firemen. They are relief pitchers, and their home is the bullpen. Their occupation is determined by necessity and is always based on trouble. Once they were old-timers finishing out a career. That was yesterday. Now many are rookies with their jobs taking on respectability and even glamour as they've become baseball's answer to football specialists. In today's highly specialized version of the game, they perform a lonely mission. For them, every pitch is a pressure pitch, and there's no disagreement about their influence on the game. Today's philosophy calls for the starters to throw as hard and as long as they can, since relief is just a phone call away. They are often highly paid, always much appreciated. Relief pitchers are synonymous with pennants. The lucky managers who have good ones call on them regularly to close out a game. The best make their living off the free-swinging power hitters. Late in the game, a good fresh pitcher is better than a good tired hitter. That's one reason why 300 hitters are becoming a rarity. 40 years ago, 61 batters hit over 300 as almost 9 out of 10 games were completed by starting pitchers. In 1969, only 18 batters hit 300 and less than half the starters went the route. That's precisely why relief pitchers are brought in so often. They get the job done. And that's what this film is all about, telling the story for the first time about the modern relief pitcher's influence on the game. A trend is already underway with major league clubs developing young relief specialists in the minors. Youngsters playing baseball are finding another position to specialize in, relief pitching. One youngster who was just a so-so starting pitcher was Tug McGraw of the New York Mets. He once was a baseball welfare case before being put on relief, and has since become one of the best by making a study of every hitter.
I have a chance to mentally prepare myself better for facing a batter when I come into a ball game from out here. In right center field, you can see home plate much more clearly than you can from over in the corner down by the foul line. And when I come into a ball game, possibly a winning run on base, and I come up against a hitter that I've seen 3 times from out here, I know how he's swinging the bat that night. I can tell what pitches he's hit well and what pitches that have gotten him out. And I more or less give myself a better idea of how I might want to pitch him under those circumstances.
Whatever the circumstances are, those who get the queasy stomach feeling going in for their personal duels don't make it.
As we drive towards the field, you're trying to think of how you're going to pitch to this hitter, what the situation is. You try to worry about your control. You got to be sharp. You got to put the ball where you want it. And the first thing you really think about is you don't want to come in and make a mistake that could cost the ball game.
Once they trudged in from their sideline home. Now they arrive in style. Bullpens are baseball's high-rent district, even though they are just a place to warm up. You'll usually find a spot starter, a long man who works a few innings early in a game, a catcher, and sometimes a coach. But the highest paid pennants are the short men. All pennant-winning teams have good right and left-handed short men who can nail down a victory or hold the other club late in the game. These specialists are equipped with one highly effective pitch, possibly a fastball, screwball, or knuckleball, with the ability to throw it day in and day out. For the casual fan, the box score only shows how many innings a reliever throws in a game, never how many in the bullpen. He may work for days there before facing a single hitter. The bullpen crew is always in the game, stealing signs and even scattering when their home gets crowded. Today, communication is by telephone. It wasn't always the case. Managers would play charades and get men warmed up or into a game. Al Shack, the clown prince of baseball, remembers what it used to be like and signals for the flutter ball throwing knuckleball ace Hoyt Wilhelm. Or the 6'6", 240-pound Dick Raditz, who is known as the Monster. While New York Yankees fans are familiar with their tobacco-chewing developer of the Folly Floater.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen. Now pitching for the Yankees. Number 39, Steve Hamilton. Number 39.
Here's Yankee broadcaster Bill Rizzuto.
All right. Steve Hamilton pitching. Oh, there's the volley floater, and it's falls back. And listen to the crowd. Hamilton had thrown the pitch to Tony Horton in Cleveland, and now he wants another one. And Hamilton gives the sign. He says, all right, maybe I'll do it again. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Look at this. And he found it again. And Munson makes the catch. Holy cow, what a play by Thurman Munson. And Tony Horton throws the bat in the air and then has held it and throws his hands in the air. And listen to this crowd go wild. And Horton crawls into the dugout. What a show he put on.
There is speculation about how the bullpen got its name. Some believe the term began at the turn of the century, when pitchers warmed up near the Bull Durham tobacco signs found in most ballparks. Fred Bucky Veal of the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1903 became baseball's first World Series relief pitcher. It wasn't until Johnny Murphy of the Yankees came on the scene in the mid-30s that relief pitching began to develop its full identity. There were others before him, but Grandma, as he was affectionately nicknamed, relied on a curveball, was one of the first to make a career out of rescuing others. He was at his best in 8 World Series appearances, where he compiled an earned run average of 1.10. Another great one, Hugh Casey, captured the hearts of Brooklyn Dodger fans in the 40s with a fine curveball and a sneaky fastball. The Fates found a special glee every once in a while, snatching victory from his grasp, like in the 4th game of the 1941 series against the Yankees. After getting 2 out in the 9th, he retired Tommy Henry on what should have been a game-ending strikeout. The ball got away from catcher Mickey Owen, and Henrik raced to first. Before the inning was over, the Yanks put away the game and were on their way to winning the series. For sure relief pitching dramatics, nothing has ever topped this one, involving another Dodger pitcher, Ralph Branca, as he faced New York Giant Bobby Thompson in the final National League playoff game in 1951. With one swing of Thompson's bat, Branca lost baseball's most famous duel, as reported by Giant announcer Russ Hodges. Jesse Joe Page of the Yanks began the era of the tireless relief pitcher who could work every day if need be. In 1949, he pitched in 60 games. Winning 13 and saving countless others, he had the brass of a burglar and relied on a blazing fastball which hitters knew was coming but could do little about. The next year, Jim Constanti flew even higher as he pitched the Philadelphia Phillies to a pennant with a palm ball. Appearing in a record 74 games, winning 15 and saving 30 others, he became the only relief pitcher ever to be named the league's most valuable player. Relief pitching has changed since Joe Black, now an executive with the Greyhound Corporation, pitched the Dodgers to a pennant in 1952.
I think the relief pitcher today in baseball is an integral part of the team because baseball, like new jobs, are more scientific. It's a specialized field. Heretofore, pitchers tried to pitch 9 innings, complete games, meant a lot to you personally. It gave you personal prestige and status. But today, you know that when you're a professional athlete, the most important thing is winning. And so if a guy can hold a team for 6 innings, they feel that there's a storm in the bullpen that can dominate the hitters for the remaining 3 innings. And as a result, you find youngsters who are going out practicing becoming relief pitchers. And I think it's a wonderful thing. The other thing that being a relief pitcher is that it helps you learn to live with pressures. Because when you come in with the bases loaded and your team is winning by 1 run, you know that that's pressure. I walk in from the bullpen and I was forced to learn how to relax because when you throw a baseball, when you're tight, it doesn't do anything but go out of the ballpark.
It's no secret that today's manager can't win without a strong bullpen. In the 60s, pennants were won with late-inning help from such stars as Elroy Face, the little baron of the Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen, who stopped everyone in 1960. Jim Brosnan, who saved 16 games for the Cincinnati Reds in 1961. While Luis Arroyo helped Whitey Ford of the Yankees win 25 the same year. And Mo Dubosky, who struck out 11 Dodgers in relief for a World Series record in 1966. Good relievers like Dubosky and McGraw know how to cope with pressure and realize the better they do, the more they're expected to do.
As a relief pitcher, when you come to the ball yard, you have a pretty good chance of getting into a ball game, and usually in the latter part of the game when they call upon a relief pitcher, it's going to be a tight situation. There's going to be men on base, it's going to be a close score, and you're going to be exposed to quite a bit of pressure. What you try to do is stay relaxed as much as you can and try not to worry about it too much. There are days in the bullpen when the game is dragging on and it gets pretty tiresome out there just sitting in the sun or sitting on the bench, and aside from relaxing, you have to keep yourself busy. We play a game called scoreboard watching where you always are observing the scoreboard to see how the other scores are coming along and the other teams in the league, and every now and then, if you know you're not going to be in a ball game, you might even sneak a hot dog, but that's pretty rare.
Hot dog? Here's one they tell about a young reliever warming up while eating a Frankfurter when he had to face Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Bill Dickey. He turned to his catcher and said, "Don't let anyone finish it. I'll be right back." Once, Ralph Kiner made the mistake of flipping his glove into the enemy's bullpen between innings. Time had to be called when he went back to his position so he could shake grass, sticks, peanut shells, and other things out, which were neatly stuffed into each finger. A pitcher needs a good glove to get himself out of many a jam.
You can help yourself out many times by being a good fielder, fielding your position well. If you can make a pitch, possibly set up a double play. Also, you want to be able to pick a man off a base, throw to second before you even make a pitch to home. And sometimes there have been situations where a relief pitcher has come in and he's never thrown a pitch to the hitter. As a relief pitcher, you make 50 or so appearances every year, and you know that you're going to get your lumps now and then. And this is something you have to learn to accept, like all the other guys have to do in their positions when they have a bad day.
Some days it's so bad you don't even know which base to cover. years, hitting dominated the game, with most clubs sporting a number of 300 batters. Now the game has changed. It's a different story. When the bullpen was the end of the road for the old-timer, batters fattened their averages in the late innings. Today, they're facing relievers who are sometimes more talented than starters. No wonder managers like to have their relief aces face particularly tough hitters. Relievers have their own problems when they get to the mound, like a landscaping and manicuring job. Adjusting to a mound different from the one they pitched on in the bullpen, so they can get a comfortable stride toward home plate. Footing hasn't bothered lefty Ron Perinoski much, a premier reliever in the American League with the Minnesota Twins. For a decade, his #1 pitch, the slider, has kept runners from scoring. Of the Chicago Cubs is the only man who has walked off twice with the National League Fireman of the Year award. The relief pitcher's Oscar originated by the Sporting News. Batters and umpires keep a closer eye on him than most other pitchers, since he's often suspected of throwing a spitball. Regan's answer to the charge, he says that when he was a youngster, his mother warned him never to put his dirty fingers in his mouth. Whenever there's a discussion about relievers, the man that most remember is Hoyt Wilhelm of the Atlanta Braves, master of the most baffling of all deliveries, the knuckleball. He's been throwing it past batters in the big league since 1952. Others have made relieving a career, but none with his long line of success. In 1970, he became the first pitcher in Major League history to appear in 1,000 games. Among relievers, he has the most games, victories, saves, innings pitched, best earned run average, and most strikeouts. He's no slouch at fielding either, having set the standard for consecutive errorless games by a pitcher. Men like Wilhelm and McGraw prize the challenge of answering the call from the dugout to halt a rally, no matter what the circumstances may be.
As you start to warm up, sometimes you'll feel tremendous. You'll feel as though you have the best stuff that you've ever had in your whole career, and you go into the game overconfident sometimes, and maybe you'll just get knocked right off the mound and not do the job at all. Other times you'll be warming up in the bullpen, and you'll feel as though you just don't have it that day, and you're almost afraid to go into the ball game. And sometimes that's not too bad, because you go into the game realizing that you don't have your sharp stuff, and you have to concentrate more, and you'll end up doing a better job. It's not going to matter how I feel. I mean, I'm going to have to go in anyway, whether I feel good or not.
Managers know that top production from their relief pitching corps is a must if they have visions of winning a pennant. It's that simple. If you have a reliever who can keep the score low, your club has a chance in every game. Good ones are scarce. So, Major League teams are developing youngsters in the minor leagues. And for youngsters playing sandlot ball, it's another avenue to the majors. Television has made relievers nationally known, and they're receiving high salaries to go along with their fame. With the coming of the Pages, Constantes, Spaces, Wilhelms, and McGraws, the bullpen has taken on added respectability and glamour. But not one relief pitcher has been named to the Baseball Hall of Fame. In the years to come, sports writers' votes for baseball's immortals will start to include these great ones as Hall of Fame candidates. Fred Marbury, Johnny Murphy, Hugh Casey, Joe Page, Jim Constante, Joe Black, Elroy Faith, Dick Raddatz, Stu Miller, Lindy McDaniel, Ron Perinoski, Hoyt Wilhelm. Champions all in a game that has captivated Americans old and young for more than a century. They all play their part in putting together a winning team. But the relief pitcher never gets in the starting lineup. He can't and still be a relief pitcher, yet he's the first man you call when your team's in trouble. A 10th position in the lineup. He's a baseball team's newest star. And those like Tug McGraw are helping to keep baseball America's greatest sport. Groups can arrange free showings by writing to this post office box number. Bullpen has been presented by Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
This is Mel Allen with the highlights of the 15th annual Ralph Kiner and Stan Musial. The American League.
We offer all kinds of baseball videos, so write in for that catalog. We'll see you next time.
And Bert Shotton, who piloted the pennant-winning Brooklyn club last season.